Welcome to Film Jury, where movies stand trial and the verdict is always final. In every episode, our roundtable of film fanatics becomes the jury, dissecting the visuals, the sound, the storytelling, and the performances as they examine every element that makes or breaks a movie, because every film deserves its verdict. Warning, this podcast does contain strong language and major spoilers are ahead. Court is now in session. What is going on, and welcome to our latest episode of the Film Jury Podcast. We are diving into our month of February, which the theme of the month of February is Love Hurts. And for that, we are starting off this month theme with the movie It Follows from 2014. It is a psychological horror film written and directed by David Robert Marshall, starring Micah Monroe as a young woman who's pursued by a supernatural entity. I'm the host who never had to rush to campus security for an itchy burning sensation, James Patrick.
I am the main character's ever-chipping red nail polish, Kristina.
And I'm the one who forgot to make a tagline. Oh, and I'm Kat Stratford.
But not without liquor.
But not without liquor, no. We have a special guest star in the form of a martini, you guys. So excited. All right, let's get into it.
I'm so excited to talk about this movie because this is one of those movies that really subverted my expectations so much. And it's one of those films that I've gone back and rewatched several times and have not had any decline in my appreciation or my affinity for this film. And in fact, as watching this now through the lens of, we're going to be covering this on the podcast, I found even more appreciation and more excitement about this film. And I'm curious, we'll start with you, Kristina. What was your background with this movie prior to watching it for this show?
So I heard about it when it first came out, and it was blowing up everywhere. And I'm like, well, everybody's raving about it, so I should watch it too, and really enjoyed it. But I haven't had the chance to actually watch it since. So I got it on Prime and watched it over the weekend, and it was a very nice, lovely refresher.
It did. The movie had a budget of 1.3 million. So, which is an insanely small budget in modern numbers. It's kind of hard. Like, you hear million and you think, well, that's a lot of money. But in the realm of making a film, that is microscopic, and it grossed 23.3. So it 20x'd its budget, and which phenomenally done. Kat, what was your kind of background with this film?
So I heard about this film. I want to say, when it first came on to streaming services, it was on Netflix. This out of 10 years ago, and I watched it, and I thought it was honestly one of the scariest films I had seen. There were certain visuals in the film that were just the scariest, most well done that I'd ever seen. Concepts that I hadn't ever seen done in movies before, and I'm just curious to know. This is one of my favorite movies, by the way. I absolutely love everything about this film, top to bottom, and I'm curious, without context, please tell me what your scariest visual from this film is. No context, and I'll tell you mine first. Mine is the peeing woman. Again, I'm giving you this with no context. I thought I was so terrified. I think I might have actually had to pause it the first time I saw this movie because I was so wigged out by that. But I'm curious to know, because I feel like everyone has a different visual that really hit them in the stomach. So which one is yours? No context.
Go ahead, Kristina.
The tall man.
The tall man definitely legitimately comes out of the darkness, almost appears out of nothing. I would say that's the one that I got the biggest jump when I saw it the first time, and probably the second time. And it came to mind the first. It's not the one that's
at the door.
Yeah. But it's not the one that has stuck with me. Here's the one that's stuck with me, that is still creeping me out to think about. When she's in the school and she runs from her classroom in the school, and she runs by those two girls who are talking, and you see the old lady just come around the corner in the background behind her. That scared the hell out of me. Like, that is a visual that is still stuck in my
You're having a visceral reaction already.
I don't know how they did it. It's so freaky. I don't know what they did in this movie, but there's something about the visuals in this like seem to connect to like something just like visceral in us that instinctively says, "Bitch, you need to run."
We open in the suburbs, and it's just past sunset, so we're at dusk. And all of a sudden, and the camera's doing a slow pan over the neighborhood, and then all of a sudden a girl opens her front door and bolts out the front door, and she's running into the middle of the street. I'm not sure what she chose to wear, and I'm not sure why she's in high heels. But she runs into the middle of the street, and it alarms a neighbor who's taking groceries out of the back of the car. And the neighbor looks at her and says, "Hey, are you okay?" And she says, "Well, yes." "Do you need help?" And the girl pauses, and she's looking around, and she says, "No." And then she runs again, but she runs in a circle. She doesn't run in a straight line. She runs in a giant circle all the way back to her house, in which her father is now standing on the front lawn of their house. And he's saying, "Annie, what are you doing? Are you okay?" And she's like, "I'm fine, Dad." And she bolts back into the house. He follows her in, but she's only in there for a few seconds, because next thing you know, she bolts right back out. She jumps in her car and she peels out. She takes off. We then cut to her at the beach, and it's nighttime. She's parked her car at the beach. The car lights are pointing at her, and she's sitting on the beach, and it's her father calling her. And she answers the phone, and she's saying, "Dad, I love you. I'm sorry I can be such a shit. Please tell Mom I love you both." And then the scene cuts, and it's daytime. And it cuts to a very visual, graphic depiction of her dead. And not just dead, a mutilated corpse. She's
Folding.
on her she's on her back, and she's been folded. Her legs have been turned around and snapped.
That might have been why the high heels draw more attention to just how mutilated she is. But it's the most startling vision, because they really just hit you with it. Like, here's a folded human.
I also think like both her nightgown and the heels implies like the heels were the most accessible shoes. Those were the shoes she most recently wore, implying she was on a date before this happened. So I think that might be why.
Oh. You are spinning me a tale. You are making some connections here. I love it.
I could see it. I just took it as it was a plot device so that you can hear her running.
That too.
That's I took it more from a production standpoint of, we're using the heels so you can hear her running.
I love when a movie makes us ask, why the fuck did she pick those shoes?
We cut to a girl getting in a pool, and this is our main character. This is Jay, played by Micah Monroe, and she is climbing into a above ground pool in her backyard, and just kind of floating around. At some point, she looks at her arm, and a little ant is crawling on her arm. She doesn't swat the ant. She doesn't kill the ant. She just lets her arm lower back into the water so the ant can swim off of her arm. So I guess where to take from this is, she would not harm even the most insignificant of life forms. There's also some symbolism here. I mean, she's floating in a pool. Water is used a lot in this movie. I mean, the previous character was killed on the beach, but it's a very serene thing. She's laying, she's floating, she's looking up at the trees. I'm getting like womb, infant in the womb vibe in this. At some point, she realizes that the kids next door are spying on her because they're little horn dogs. And this idea of like being watched is another theme. that
Very
comes up,
impressive.
and she kind of brushes off. She's like, I can see you guys. And we're now confronting this notion that she's being sexualized. It's in a playful way because they're kids, but they're still sexualizing her, and she's not angry about it. She's more just dismissive of it, like, okay, kids are being kids. And this is where we meet our first character. I'm just curious, any observations either of you had on it?
Like as you said, water is used a lot in this. I think water is kind of used as almost her safe place that she comes back to. Because when we cut to the scene of her room, there's a picture of her in the pool as well. Like that's one of her most treasured memories. And yeah, like throughout the movie, there's so many people with their eyes directly on her.
I agree with everything Kristina just said. I spent a lot of this movie trying to discern like what time period we are in, and that is absolutely intentional. I checked. So like everything from the above ground pool, like all of it feels like it's not quite of this time, but not quite out of our time, and it's hard to like place. And I remember spending like the first portion of the movie going, what year is it supposed to be? And that's kind of deliberate. It throws you off kilter that you can't quite place it. And when you can't quite place it, it could be anything. It could be any time. It could be anywhere. It could be right now.
And at the same time, there were so many things in her household that I'm like, we had that in our house, or our chairs were shaped like that. So it did feel familiar.
Yeah, the cars ran late 80s, but then we see that the friend has the seashell thing, some kind of cellular
it's like
something.
a pre-Kindle.
It reminded me of a Sidekick. Do you remember Sidekicks from 2004?
No, I wasn't cool enough.
Yeah, me either. I'm not old enough to remember that either. Yeah.
So we meet a few of the other characters at this moment. We meet Paul and Yara, who are friends with the main character, Jay, and Jay's sister, who is named
Kelly.
Yep. There's something I'm going to bring up about names in a little bit. And I'm just curious. Well, Kristina, you just smirked. What did you notice about names?
I know some of them are like nods to different movies.
Oh, I had no idea. Actually,
because Jay is actually short for Jamie.
Oh, Jamie Lee Curtis. Okay.
I'm trying to remember the others I picked up on, but like I do know some of the name, like their references. Oh, Annie, one of the friends in Halloween is named Annie.
Same with Paul.
Yeah.
In fact, Paul was Annie's boyfriend in Halloween. With the exception, I'll mention it now. Jay and Kelly, the sisters, are the only two in the entire movie who do not have a 4-letter name. You have Yara, you have Paul, you have Hugh, who ends up being Jeff. You have
well, it depends how you spell Jeff.
it Jeff.
Okay.
Per captions. And then you have Greg. Everyone in the movie has a 4-letter name. And I think the idea of it is to separate the sisters as being different from everyone else in the movie. Everyone else is almost replaceable or can be swapped in and out. But Jay and Kelly are the two we need to be focusing on because they are the standout ones. They are the ones worth seeing.
Sure.
Okay. I thought that was really interesting. Like I was about halfway through the movie. I'm like, is this right? Am I catching this? And then when we find out Hugh's name is Jeff and then we meet, and I was like, then the last domino to fall into place is I couldn't figure out Greg's name. And I was like, who's this discount Johnny Depp? So I was just writing discount Johnny Depp in my notes. And then finally Greg comes up. I'm like, another 4-letter name. I think that was interesting.
Let the record reflect that the real Johnny Depp is also a discount Johnny Depp.
I guess it depends. It depends what era we're pulling him from.
I just wanted to make sure that like Johnny Depp caught some shade here.
Jay's getting ready for a date, and we do get a sense that Paul's a little jealous. Paul looks a little bit longer than he should. There's a lot of scenes of Paul just looking at Jay, and we see Jay getting ready in the mirror.
He's in the friend zone.
Oh, he's totally friend zoned.
Hard friend zone.
One thing she did that was interesting as she's getting ready in front of her vanity mirror, she takes a pill. It never indicates what she's taking a pill for. Like, it never shows the label or anything like that. I know.
It was birth control.
It could be. I took it as anxiety meds.
Oh, that would make sense too.
Yeah, and it does seem like, based on our conversation, that she's expecting something to happen between her and Hugh.
We go to the movies, and she's waiting in line at the movies with her date, Hugh. And she decides to play a game with him. And the game is, we can look around and we get to choose someone who we would rather be. And then the other person has to guess. Now, this is 100% a plot device to get them to start looking around them. Okay. We can't just have Hugh looking around without some reason for him to be looking around that the audience needs to be clued in on. So they're using this game, and it's cute, and it's flirty, and Hugh has this thing where he picks a kid, and he's like, this kid has his whole life in front of him, and Jay kind of calls him out on that. She's like, you're in your 20s, like you're not this old decrepit person. What are you talking about? He's like, yeah, but the kid can poop in his pants right now, and that's totally acceptable. And she's like, yeah, I'd be frowned upon if you did that. It's cute. It's cute. Yeah. It's a cute connection. And they go into the movie theater, and they're still playing it. And it's now Jay's turn. Jay finds someone in the audience that she wants to be. And Hugh's looking around. He says, okay, what about that girl in the yellow dress right there? And she turns over and looks over her shoulder. She's like, what girl? And he's like, the girl in the yellow dress right there. And she's like, I don't see a girl. And then all of a sudden, this panic sets in on Hugh's face. And he says, we have to leave. Can we go? I don't feel good. We have to go. And they exit the theater together. So where are you at? Like, we have to harken back to our first time seeing it. What are we thinking is happening in this moment?
A lot of it feels a little bit like what was happening to Annie, because you have both of them in both scenes, like they're seeing something that nobody else is seeing, and they're clearly terrified by it. And it's very, very powerfully setting up like what's in store for our main character and what's about to transpire, like something, an unseen threat, but they see it.
I remember thinking, I can't wait to see like what these guys are seeing. And then when I did, I was like, One thing I will say is that I don't understand how he mistook the girl in the yellow dress. Like, we don't see her, but like, I don't understand how he mistook it anything other than, the big bad that we encounter, because everything else we see is a bit obvious.
It is unclear when he contracted this curse, because he seems to go from 0 to 60 really quickly. He's very chill, and then all of a sudden he's very unchill. So we could believe that he is at the early stages of this, and thus he might be discounting it in his own mind. Like, maybe I'm not seeing this thing, but when this girl in the yellow dress ends up being an apparition that someone else can't see, that could have been the final nail for him to be like, I have to get out of this. Like, obviously there's something here. That's the only thing I can logic out of this, because it is a bit of a hole. Kristina, you're shaking your head.
I'm going to disagree, because we find out later that he's using a fake name. He's staying at an address that's not his own. And, the girl at the beginning, Annie, I think that was his girlfriend.
I think they were on a date, and that's why she was wearing the high heels. As soon as you said that, I'm like, it clicked into place. Kristina, I think you are a movie sleuth.
Because you do see a picture of him with a girl in
with a girl. It's
And I think this
Unclear.
is
It could be
law.
hinting at it, but I don't think it's definitive.
Yeah, and he does mention that where he got it later. Like he picked it up in a one-night stand. So this is something methodical, something he was planning. I do agree that it seems a little weird that he didn't recognize the threat that was coming towards him, because like this was like a premeditative plan to pass the curse along. The only leeway I'll give him is that there is a scene later with the creature following that you don't recognize that it's the threat right away because it's disguised as one of the friends.
Correct. I
So
know exactly the scene you're talking about.
Yes. Okay.
give it a
Yes.
little bit
Yes.
of
You're
a
right. You're right.
But
All right. All right. All right. Well, then,
he-
well, so they leave the movie theater, and then what happens?
so one more thing on the movie theater, he broke his own rules by going into the movie theater. The rules he told, or he's going to tell Jay about, like, how to avoid this thing, he breaks it by going into a movie theater.
No, because he says don't go into a place where there's not two exits. There's two exits. There's two aisles, two doors.
That's, and you're in the middle. You're in the middle of a no. Mm-mm,
I
no.
will say that theater was small.
I
Yeah.
It wasn't safe.
I will say that, like, if like, so if people listening to this have no idea like what this thing is, it follows. But so like if I were being followed, I wouldn't be stationary for 2 hours in a dark room, you know? Like,
Yeah.
It's
in general.
it's a plot hole.
Yeah.
They should have had them at a bar or a restaurant, something like that. They should have been.
Yes, that would have made a bit more sense. I love the plot device that they did use to like introduce the curse, though. To like as much as like a little bit of a hole it is, I love that like our first intro is the girl in the yellow dress. What girl?
Yeah.
We gotta go. I instantly
it's a
I am
scene that's
sat.
thick.
I am hooked.
Yeah. There's a resonance to it. They end up going to a real quick dinner. Well, I don't know how quick the dinner was. We get one scene of the dinner, and we just have a scene of them sitting at a table talking to each other. There's music playing over it, so we don't hear what they're saying, but we do see a figure walking across the street towards the restaurant.
Yeah, like the camera's not on them, it's on the figure.
Correct.
And you feel this ominous music start to play.
As the camera's like slowly punching in towards
the person.
Not like it's using them as a frame
right
for this person walking towards, and then the scene cuts. And herein we get a conversation between Jay and her sister Kelly about, oh, he was a little weird on the date, but I don't know, I still kind of like, I mean, she wants this.
Right.
Yeah, she wants this.
Yeah.
I don't know what Hugh's doing right. I'm not seeing it, but
listen, if we have to decipher the reasons behind heteronormativity, we'll be here all night. So
so they go on another date, and here Hugh has chosen a 6-pack and beer, or a 6-pack in the woods, which I guess this is
the romance.
Yeah, ultimate, like perfect date.
It does imply throughout the movie that these are lower income families. So this is a date.
I never got the impression that anyone was rich, for sure. And frankly, I've been on this date before. Like I've been on this date, and any person in their early 20s, I feel like, am I telling too much about myself? Okay, I'm gonna stop talking. Talking.
I've never taken someone on this date. I've never taken my car and a 6-pack to an abandoned hospital. Like it's some abandoned building.
Yeah.
There's a wheelchair there, which is why I assumed hospital. Anyway, they bone in the back seat of the car, which is the cover of the movie. So,
bound.
Yeah, they get it on, but she then goes into postcoital romance. She's laying in the backseat of the
Yeah,
car. She's playing with some dandelions that are growing through the pavement. She's telling a story about like a sweet memory she's had. He's fussing around in the trunk of his car, and then he like climbs into the back seat, climbs over her, is kissing her back, and then he puts a chloroform rag over her face and chokes her until she passes out. She then
and
wakes up. Go ahead.
I have to say, at this point in the movie, I thought like the first time watching this movie, I thought I was watching a different kind of movie at this point.
Yes.
So, but she comes to, and I find out exactly what kind of movie. Take it away, James.
Yeah, like the entire scene is done so sweet and so tender, and that tonal shift is so strong.
I've never seen a chloroform coming.
What you do is you clearly see him distracted.
Yeah.
He's clearly like, what is he fucking around in the trunk for?
Well, I know he was like, he got out to get redressed.
But he's messing around in the trunk. It was weird. So like, I like that. And the only reason I bring that up is the director is not insulting us. He's not like throwing us such a curveball that it's not that we didn't see it coming, it's that we couldn't see it coming. Rewatching this, you can see this coming. Mm-hmm. You can see the hints coming. And I like that they're there because that's respecting the audience enough that you're not going to see it coming the first time, but you could see it coming the second time.
Right.
Yeah, I do love that kind of detail. I will say on her behalf, on Jay's behalf, I'm a little angry. Like, I don't know. I feel like if a guy started fishing around in the trunk after, my hackles would be up. But she is very much Moon in June. She is romanticizing. She's in a cute little bra set and everything. It's, yeah, I don't know. It's like, it reminds me of like an Instagram shoot or something. You know, it's very cutesy until it's very not. But then she comes to, and
she's tied up in a wheelchair. They're on the second floor of this abandoned building. And just to kind of set the scene, like all the windows are gone in this building. It's completely hollowed out. You just have the framework structure. You have the concrete floors and you have some concrete pillars that's holding this thing up. And she
almost
wakes up
like a
and
parking
she's
garage.
very, very similar. She's confused, clearly. Like, why is she tied up? She doesn't understand what's happening. And you see Hugh kind of like running around in the background, like looking out all the empty windows, trying to find something. And he tries to like, comfort is the word I'm going to use, but it's not very comforting. He says, you know, I'm sorry, I'm not going to hurt you, but you need to know what's going on. This thing, it's going to follow you. And it can look like someone you know, or it can look like a stranger. You know, sometimes I think it looks like people you love just to hurt you. And she's not processing any of this. Like, she's still like, why am I tied up?
The haze, yeah.
Yeah, would you be like, I mean, if in that moment I'm just like, I'm contemplating like what weapons I'm going to use, not whatever crazy Delulu bullshit the guy who just tied me to a wheelchair is saying. Like, he's a crazy man, he just tied me up. Like, I don't believe a word.
And then he says, I see it. And he like runs over and like grabs the wheelchair. And they do something weird with the camera. They have the camera mounted on a dolly, which is attached to the wheelchair. So as he's moving the wheelchair, the camera stays locked on her. Little disorienting of a shot, and maybe because she's coming out of the chloroform, that's why they did it. I didn't like it. I don't think it added anything. It felt like extra seasoning we didn't need in this scene. But anyway, he then rolls her over to the edge of the building, so she's looking out, and she can see there's a woman walking through the woods, exiting the woods, walking towards the building, just slowly walking, and the woman is naked. And
except for flip-flops.
She's wearing flip-flops?
Yeah. When she's outside.
We are very conscious of the shoe choices in this film.
Yeah. She's wearing flip-flops outside, but we see her again inside and the flip-flops are gone.
Oh, Kristina caught a mistake.
Well,
Kristina caught a continuity error.
I'm sure it was to protect the actress's feet while she was outside because they could do a better sweep inside of what was on the floor. But yeah,
That's continuity. That's someone's job. That's why it's $1.3 million budget and not a $1.4 million budget. We lost a little bit of money on the continuity person. So Hugh starts trying to explain the rules to her, and he says, "You need to sleep with someone because if it kills you, it comes after me. You need to sleep with someone. You need to pass this on." And then he lets this thing get to the second floor. He lets this thing get close to her. And he even says, like, I had to let this get close. You have to understand that this is real. You have to understand that this is happening. And then he takes her and he leaves. And then he ends up just ditching her in the street in front of her house and then peels out. And obviously, like, you know, her sister and Paul and Yara were sitting in the front yard. So they see her get dumped out and they go to her aid. And, you know, next thing we know, the police are there. She's being interviewed. She has to basically give a victim statement. You know, this was SA, and she has to give a statement. And what does the male cop ask her?
Was it consensual?
Was it consensual?
Yeah. I mean, the drugging wasn't, but okay.
SA is still SA, however you want to slice it up. And so obviously, like, she's like just like even the audio in the movie becomes more hollow as she's like numb to everything happening. And we get a quick scene of Greg and I assume Greg's sister. They're the neighbors across the street. Discount Johnny Depp. And the sister has some comment of like, oh, those people are always such a mess. And I think this alludes to, Kristina, what you were saying about how these are not families that come from means. And, you know, there's struggle. There's clear struggle amongst this. And the neighbors are judging each other for their own struggle, even though no one is immune to this. She's then taken to the hospital, and she has to undergo tests at the hospital. Like, this is, the kit. This is traumatic.
Yeah,
we're just piling on.
It's very
trauma.
traumatic, and you start to wonder: is this movie an allegory for a deeper message about our society?
Yeah,
that was a joke. It is an allegory. It's an allegory.
Yep.
She's released and gets to go home, but we have just another painful scene. She's standing in front of the vanity mirror again, and instead of getting dressed up for a date, she's standing there in her underwear, and she ends up looking into her underwear and panics. She has a panic attack. This is becoming less like SA and more like a hard R, is what this is feeling like. And she is having all the emotions of being victimized in this. And then
something was taken from her, and her sense of security is gone. Her sense of stability gone. Like, we feel that. Like, we feel this almost like hollow, like helpless sort of feeling with her. Like, we're right there in there with her. And I feel like the sound design, like you mentioned, the visuals, all of it lends itself to this sense.
Right.
They could have really cut corners and just made this a cliche horror film. And I'm glad they didn't. I'm glad they didn't skimp on the emotional investment they asked the audience to take with this character, Jay.
Yeah.
I think that's great writing is what that is. And that's trusting your audience, and that's standing by your narrative when it comes to filming.
And in these scenes, like, not only was something taken from her, but something like straight up was given to her. Like, this is a sexually transmitted curse. Like, and I
hate it when that happens, by the way.
Yeah.
It's awful.
Yeah. Well, you just take a pill, and they give you some shampoo for that. So as she's having this panic attack.
Is that what happened to your hair?
Yeah. That's It
How
came
I got fired from
and
a
it took.
podcast.
Came and it took. Yeah. Back to more serious matters. As she's standing, being traumatized in front of the mirror, mind you, a red ball hits the window. Clearly, we're using the color red intentionally, right? And it's what do we see again? We see the neighbor, one of the neighbor kids spying on her again. But this is not innocent spying anymore. This is not him just peeking over his fence at her in the pool. He's on her roof, looking in her window at her.
And we're sure that's one of the neighborhood kids and not Paul?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. To me, this reads as her innocence is gone.
Okay.
She was being slightly objectified by these neighbor kids when she was in the pool. She's being wildly he is spying on her in her bathroom or in her room.
Yeah,
in her underwear.
Her autonomy and her privacy and her sense of self have already been stripped away, like internally, and now we see that externally being communicated. Like every bit of sexual harassment she was experiencing has been turned up to 11.
Mm-hmm. It's intentionally, like this is once again, the narrative is by design. We now cut to school, and we have a beautiful homage to 1978 Halloween, with her in the classroom staring out the window as the teacher is giving a lecture. This teacher happens to be lecturing on a poem. What was it? I believe it's F. Scott Fitzgerald. She's talking about Lazarus, someone who sees death. And as this teacher is giving this discussion, and Jay's staring out the window in her classroom, all of a sudden she sees an old woman in a hospital gown slowly lumbering across the courtyard towards her classroom. And of course she freaks the fuck out, grabs all of her stuff and ditches out of the classroom, to which the teacher says, "Excuse me," which I thought that was like, what teacher gives a shit?
No.
Yeah, okay, especially at this level of school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I assume she's in college.
This is high school.
No, I got college from this too.
No,
And
there's no way this is college. She can't afford college.
I'm definitely right. It's a community college.
Yeah, I'm siding with Kat. I think the implication is that she's in college.
If she's in college, it's even less reason for a teacher to give a shit.
Yeah, that's fair.
I agree. I'm siding with you on that. I just disagree with you about literally everything.
No, here's why this is not college. She leaves the classroom. She's inside of a school, and what's lining the school? Lockers. You don't have lockers in college.
You know what? Like, I don't. You know what?
You know what? I'm
Whatever.
right. Yeah. How about
you know what?
I'm right.
You're definitely wrong. And like, give me your lunch money. It's that time in the episode. Give me your lunch money.
So here's where we get that really creepy scene that still sticks with me, which is she's like running through the halls. There's two girls just kind of hanging out, talking in the hall, and then you see the old woman come around the corner at her. And it's clear that these two girls can't see this old woman.
Mm-hmm.
And this woman is creepy looking. Like we have a lock shot where the camera's locked and the old woman just slowly just walks towards the camera, and it's never breaks stride, never breaks pace, never moves her eyes.
So creepy.
It is just like, okay, so I'm sure this is maybe not a universal experience, but not uncommon. Seeing an older relative as a young child who's like in the hospital, like a grandparent or something. For me, it was my Auntie Irene. I saw her without her wig for the first time in the hospital when she got really sick, and I was 9 years old, and it was the scariest thing I'd ever seen in my life because it was this person who, you know, I loved, and I'm seeing them in what looks to me in my 9-year-old eyes, this unnatural state. And that's kind of like what this reminded me of, like that moment, like in childhood when we see somebody looking not the way they should.
Right.
There's nothing supernatural about this old woman. She doesn't have horns. She doesn't have fangs.
Mm-mm.
But like, it ain't right.
It's just an old
It ain't
woman
right,
who
and that's
looks
all
like
you
she's
know.
close to death.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's just like automatically rustles your jimmies.
Mm-hmm.
I also do think it was interesting. I didn't catch it the first time, but I caught it the second time when Jay gets dumped in front of her house. Her sister and the friends. The card game they're playing is Old Maid, and it really zooms in on that card.
Ooh.
And then the next time you see it, it is an Old Maid.
So
I noticed that and I didn't connect the dots. Oh my God, Kristina, you should be hosting this.
I mean, she's observation queen. From here, we decide to have a sleepover, which is logical. Like, surround yourself with friends,
Very
safety in
protective.
numbers.
Yeah, bubble.
Yeah. A lot happens in the next few scenes, and I'm going to kind of rifle through all of them, and then we can unpack them. We see Paul again, and what is he doing? He's watching classic monster movies. Every time we see Paul, he seems to be watching classic monster movies, which I was trying to like unpack what that meant. And it's the thing I was coming up with is like, when you think about classic monster movies, there's so much more about face value. And we always see the monster on screen whenever he's watching the movie. And here's an instance where no one sees the monster except for the person who's infected, right? So we have the kind of contrast there. Also, like, he watches these monster movies for comfort. These are familiar, comfortable characters for him. This is not horror for him, which I thought was an interesting duality. Paul's hitting on Jay a little bit. We find out that they were each other's first kiss, and it could be very possible that she was Paul's last kiss, too. Then a window breaks somewhere. Paul goes to see what happened. A window broke in one of the rooms. He goes to get her sister. And
it's so scary.
Jay starts to look around and investigate herself. And this is where all of a sudden she comes across a woman or a girl whose clothes are half ripped off of her body. And she's urinating on herself as she's slowly walking.
No, she's just like, the main thing that you hear her before you see her, at least this is how it lives in my memory. I think one of the great things about watching horror is like you're kind of watching it through like this traumatized lens. So like you don't necessarily remember horror movies that accurately. And I remember hearing the pee hitting the floor, and I don't know why. I don't know why it's so scary to me, but this is the scariest moment in the movie for me. Just something about like this woman also has a snaggle tooth. I don't know why that shouldn't be scary, but it is. It's terrifying. There's something so unsettling about this stilted walk.
Yeah.
She's peeing on herself. Like it's just terrifying, and you wonder, like, is this like their last victim, one of their victims that they're cosplaying?
And it's never clear
who was so scared that she was peeing herself.
Yeah, it's never clear why it chooses any shape that it does.
Yeah.
And you never really know if the person seeing it recognizes the character or not. With a few exceptions, but this to me read like this was a victim of a hard R. And that was a lot more threatening and playing on Jay's very, very recent traumatic experience. So if this entity is trying to psychologically hurt someone, choosing to portray itself as a victim of the hard R is a really strong, terrifying signal to send to Jay.
Just visual trauma. I also think there was a thought to make sure that what the audience saw was something just was so visually distraught, because we've seen a lot of girls in this household. I think the intention was to make sure that no one in the audience had any doubt that this wasn't normal, that this wasn't somebody that was already in the house, that this was something unnatural that had made its way in.
So they end up running up to one of the bedrooms, and they're hiding out in one of the bedrooms. And the only person who's not in there is Yara.
Right.
Yara's not in the room. And so Yara is knocking on the door outside the room. And they're like, oh, it's just Yara. We can let Yara into the bedroom. And Jay's like, no, don't open the door. Don't open the door. And sure enough, Kelly opens the door, and Yara's just standing there confused, like, what's going on, guys? What's happening? And then all of a sudden, out of the darkness in the hallway behind her comes like a 7-foot giant of a man who kind of like has to lumber his way into the room, like, over Yara, but under the door frame.
He has to duck.
Yes.
Like, it's so scary because he literally is like looming out of nowhere. And this is the moment that most people tell me is like the scariest moment in the movie for them. And I'm not as afraid of this because I've dated tall men before. It's terrifying because it really is just like all of a sudden like,
well, it's not just the tallness of him, because yes, he is tall and intimidating, but it's the fact that Yara's right in front of him and has no reaction.
Zero.
Like, he is confused, and then you just see this menacing presence just appear.
Yep.
Like, it is chilling.
So Jay clearly freaks and bolts. Like, she jumps right out the window. She's out of here, gets on her bike, and just bikes off. Everyone else finds her somehow, and she's at a park nearby. And also who happens to show up is the neighbor, Greg. And Greg's like, I'll help you find this guy, Hugh. Greg's trying to be the hero. I wrote down Timu Johnny Depp. And so maybe Greg's the only one with a car. So he's now part of the group.
That was the impression I got.
Yeah. So he drives them so they can try to go find Hugh. We get a quick shot of Greg leering a little bit at Yara, by the way.
Yeah.
Greg's a leerer.
Well, if there's a truth we can universally acknowledge in this film, it's that the men are trash.
All of them, by the way.
Yeah.
No. I didn't see a redeeming feature here.
No, including the one that we're supposed to feel sympathetic for, which is Paul. But I would argue Paul is just as bad, if not worse, than a lot of them.
Oh yeah, for sure. And like, we'll get there when we get there. But like, I don't necessarily think that his actions at the end of the film were necessary. Like, I mean, I don't know what else I would do, but noble. Like, not that noble.
No. So they end up finding this house, which she thought Hugh lived at, and it's a pretty decrepit, moderately abandoned house. The windows are covered up with newspaper sans. The room that Hugh would have been hanging out in, which the windows were covered up with comic book pages, which I thought was an interesting choice. Like, we're literally hiding behind childhood. Except for the fact that there's a whole stack of really explicit nudie mags and just a half-wasted box of tissues. Dude didn't even throw away his used rags. And what does Paul do? Paul just starts leafing through this shit. He's like, oh, might as well do my research here.
It's a truth universally acknowledged. The men in this movie are trash.
For some reason, he finds a photo of Hugh tucked into one of these nudie mags, which I don't know why. Like, are you
staying there?
Are you bookmarked? Why would you use a photo of yourself as a bookmark?
I keep my self-portraits in my Playboys, actually. Do you not?
Safe
I,
space for
It's
that.
just not standard.
I was really into this pictorial. I don't want to lose my place. I want to pick up tonight where I left off. So let me I don't want to bunny ear this or dog ear this. So I'm just going to pop one of my
Don't want to
portraits
wrinkle the
in here.
pages.
One of my self-portraits, one of my like, and again, we don't really get a clear idea of when this movie is. So like, you know, it kind of it has like a very 80s, early 90s sort of aesthetic. And so you kind of get the sense that it's in that time, which means a Polaroid was expensive. I wouldn't be just wasting that film to bookmark my Playboy.
Further evidence to the idea that they're in high school, not college. They find out
Oh my God.
that Hugh goes to a different high school.
Did go.
Did?
Yeah, because he, like, at the beginning of the movie, they say
right.
he's in his
Yeah.
20s. And when they actually go to the school, like, they're going through several yearbooks.
Okay. I relent.
Did.
Yeah. My girl knows what's up. Okay.
So they end up finding his yearbook photo at the school he went to and find out his name is actually Jeff Redmond. Huh. That's not
I
clear.
didn't catch until you just said it that his name even has the word red in it.
Yep. Jeff Redmond. So they go to visit Jeff Redmond. But we have to watch a little bit of Greg throwing a little flirt on Jay. Gives a little shoulder squeeze in the front seat. He's watching out for her. He's protecting her. I got you, Jay. Yeah. Paul sees it. Paul's not happy. They go to Jeff's house, and Jeff's just there with his mom. His mom's like, "Oh, come on in." And so Jeff takes him out to the backyard, and they're sitting around in the backyard while the mom's doing probably mom stuff, like making him peanut butter and jelly sandwiches with the crust cut off, because that's the type of house Jeff seems to be living in. They seem to have more money than all these other kids who are maybe across the tracks. And Jeff is trying to defend his actions. He's not even trying to defend his actions. He's just trying to tell Jay what to do to keep this thing away. And he feels he's completely justified in what he did. And he even says it will be easier for her because she's a girl. God, easier for her to go find someone to sleep with.
The deadpan glare she gives him after he says that, because she was so disconnected in that scene until he said that. And then just her eyes locked on him.
And he's like, "You got to go. You got to go. You can't be here. You got to go." Yeah. So where do they go? Well, Greg has a lake house. So, all right, we're going to go to the lake house, which I'm not sure why.
Shack, but yeah.
What's that?
It's more of a shack.
Yeah, I guess it's big enough for all them. Which, by the way, where are their parents in any of this? Like, outside of Annie's, like, they're just going to go to Greg's beach house, and none of their parents.
It's been established that they're latchkey kids, and also since they're in college, I don't think their parents are watching as closely since they're in college.
The few times you see
Kelly's
Kelly
not in college,
Jay's
by the way.
mom,
Kelly's in high school. She's a younger sister in high school.
Kelly's probably in high school. Kelly and you are probably in high school. But the few times you see Kelly and Jay's mom, she always has a wine of glass in hand or nearby. There's even one scene where she is passed out on her bed, glass half full on the dresser. Her shoes are still on. So I think it's very implied that the mom has a drinking problem, probably, and doesn't pay attention.
Cat takes a hit off of her teeth.
But who is it? Greg also.
I can't relate. I just want to reiterate once again, Kristina, you should be hosting this.
Maybe next episode.
This is the hardest I've ever seen James laugh.
Oh man, I'm delirious. Okay, so
yeah,
all right. So what happens next?
Greg also implies that his mother wouldn't care if he disappears. Like their parents are not really present in their lives. It's very heavily implied.
Yeah. We get a shot of Jay and Greg sharing a bed. And Greg wakes up to go get his gun out. So we now have a firearm because that could not go wrong
Murica.
at all. This is the scene, Kristina, I believe you were alluding to. They're all hanging out on the beach, and it's a very chill day. And we see who we believe to be Yara walking up to the group in the background.
Yep.
Only for then to there be a scene of the water. And by the way, the water's super calm. Just it's something to point out. And all of a sudden, from the left of the frame, Yara comes into the frame on her little inner tube, and she's like, "You guys got to get in the water. This is great." And we realize, wait a second, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's not. And then all of a sudden, you don't see this person walking up. You just see Jay's hair being lifted up off of her head because someone is grabbing it and then yanks her up.
Yeah.
Everyone freaks out. Paul takes a beach chair and hits this thing over the back with it. And then we just see Paul get whacked and just pinballs off the frame. Like that dude got yanked stage left like that.
This was like a great use of like effects for me. Like it doesn't take a huge budget to make something that really works visually. And so again, you see the phantom hair pull. It's just like all of a sudden, and shit hits the fan, and it's so good and it's so scary. And I was so in it.
It reminded me of the scene from the Conjuring, the first Conjuring, I believe.
Yes.
When the same thing happens to one of the daughters, where the hair lifts and she gets pulled.
Yep.
Which was also a very, very effective scene.
They shoot the gun a little bit. That doesn't seem to do much. This thing keeps coming at them. Jay steals the car, drives off in the car, and then crashes the car.
Mm-hmm.
But they clearly got away because
women drivers, am I right?
Yeah, can't trust them. Next thing we know, Jay's in the hospital with a broken forearm.
Right.
So that's good. But you know what? She has Greg, and Greg's there to help bang her. And he bangs her at the hospital. It is such an uncomfortable scene.
It's so bad because it does remind me of like the tepid comfort offered by early boyfriends when when you are young and you are looking for comfort in somebody else's arms, and the comfort that they have to offer you is their ween. Mm-hmm. It really reminded me of that. Like the setting was wrong, the circumstances were wrong, everything about it was wrong, but in that moment, it's the only avenue that she has.
Right. So it's a safeguard for her because even in the scene, she looks at him for 2 seconds and then she turns and is looking out the window or whatever, just waiting for somebody to walk and see somebody walking towards her.
Yep. Greg must not have a nice ween, by the way. And to be clear, we've seen Greg leer at Yara. We've seen Greg leer at her sister. We've seen Greg on a date earlier in the movie with another woman. Who seemed to be
then on a date later
older. And then we immediately see Greg hanging out with a couple, which look like high school girls, by the way, at what looks like a mall. He's already, and we're not sure if he's intentionally trying to pass it on or if this is just him. He's just hanging out with more girls.
Right.
My impression was that this is him.
Absolutely.
I don't think we get a lot of depth with Greg. I have a feeling that he's the shallow end of the pool.
He's a not that deep. The first time we see him, he's washing his car, but when we see the car, the only part that's wet is the part that he's immediately working on, and then he walks away. Once the girls are past.
Total for show.
And then you see the car again. The car's still filthy.
That's hilarious. That is hilarious. Yeah, Greg's a real piece of shit. He tries to check on her to his credit once, and the friends just kind of shoo him off. They're like, she's not interested in seeing anyone or talking to anyone. He's like, whatever. And he's clearly not interested in any of the friends, like talking to them or communicating with them, I think.
Yeah. And it's clear that he doesn't believe what Jay believes.
Yes, at all. He just
Yes,
wanted
yeah.
to get laid. Later
This
that night,
this actually works out just fine, and I think.
yeah,
Just rewards.
yeah. So later that night, Jay sees what looks like Greg walking down the street, and she like knocks on her window to get his attention, but he never looks at her. He should be able to hear her, but he never breaks his stride. And now we have the giveaway. And this doppelganger Greg climbs through a window in Greg's house, and Jay like races across the street to save him. Gets
Because she
into
a
the
damn
house
fool.
only to see not a doppelganger, but Greg's mom knocking on Greg's door. And Greg opens the door to his room and is like, "Mom, what do you want?" And then she jumps his bones and bangs him.
It's terrible. It's
So
terrible.
gross.
She bones him to
Disgusting.
death.
To
Like,
death.
it's
It only took a few seconds too.
well,
only
men
took a
don't
few
last very long, you know.
Well, it's unclear if it was actually sex or if it was just a wildly suggestive position of her straddling him, grinding as she, I guess,
Like-
choked him out.
Like a
It's-
succubus incubus feeding kind of
it's-
thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
It felt like it was
succubus
feeding
is
off of him.
exactly what I thought when I saw the visual. But like, there's something again. All of the ghoulies that we see, they all speak to like this visceral, instinctive reaction, and there's something about like the fact that it's his mom.
Jay ditches out and she ends up going to the beach, and Jay ends up seeing a bunch of guys on a boat, and she strips off her clothes and she swims out to the boat. Next thing we know, she's going home. So we're to think she did something pretty intense on this boat with this group of guys to pass this on, because anyone who would allow themselves to do this deserves what they get. She's now indiscriminately passing this on to people she feels, one, to protect herself, but also like she's
Screw these guys.
Yep.
She's what?
Screw these guys. Screw these men. Like,
Oh yeah.
she has checked out of that. Like, and right, she should.
I do have a question of mechanics. Now, if you have the curse and you pass it on to person A, but then also have sex with person B before person A dies, does the monster...
Did it create a buffer?
Yeah. Does the monster go from A to B, or does the monster go from A to U?
There's not clear if you can create buffer bangs.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what happens if you take the curse to an orgy. I really don't know.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Fluids touching fluids. I don't know. We'd have to bring on a medical expert for that.
That is the problem with these sexually transmitted curses.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's just there's not enough research. When she comes home, her pool is drained, and not just drained, like it looked like it had been destroyed. So this idea of this like safe womb was destroyed.
Yeah.
Like,
Crushed.
we're hitting the nail on the head with this. Paul decides to offer himself. He's like, I want to help. Bang you, like, which is
so
and I love
noble.
Jay's response. She's like, do you? Do you want to help? Like, she's justifiably so fucking jaded from what all like
Yeah.
assaulted by Hugh/Jeff, taking advantage of by Greg, and now Paul, the one person who's supposed to be like nice, is like completely sexualizing her
Yeah.
and
I do
objectifying her.
I do think this taps into why he loves old movies, because you have the guy who always protects the damsel. You have the guy that gets the girl.
Yeah,
Like-
he knows the script.
Right.
He
And
knows
he's
the
trying
template to
follow the
follow.
script. Yeah.
He wants to play a role.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he has a plan.
But like, I mean, to speak to something that James pointed out, these are comfort movies to him, and it's because, like, you know, in my opinion, in my armchair psychology take, like, it's because he sees himself reflected in these monsters. He wants to see himself in the hero, but actually, he is the thing from the Black Lagoon.
He has a plan. Paul has a plan on how they're going to get this thing. And he takes them all to a giant pool, like that's a town over. And they booby trap the pool by putting all these electrical devices around the water. And I guess the idea is we'll put Jay in the middle of the pool. Once this thing gets in the pool, we'll knock all these electrical things into the pool and we'll electrocute it. Where this idea comes from, it is never discussed, and how they think that electricity is going to have any impact when bullets did not is also unclear, but this is where they're at.
Yeah.
So Jay's in the middle of the pool. She's freaking out because the thing does come, and it's fucking smart. It doesn't get in the pool. It starts hurling the electrical objects at Jay's head. So you just see these things being picked up and being hurled at her, one of which strikes her right in the face.
Yep.
And the other friends are trying to figure out where this thing is.
Jeff had dropped a line earlier in the movie. It's very slow, but it's not dumb.
Yeah. No. Clearly
yes. One of my favorite lines in the movie, actually.
Yeah.
It's someone gets the idea. Who's shooting? Is Paul shooting? Right.
Yeah.
Paul's shooting. He shoots Yara in the leg.
Yep, Yara.
Yeah, so Yara gets hit in the leg because Paul can't shoot.
If you see a guy holding a gun in your direction, move?
Probably move, yeah.
Maybe?
Yara reads books on
horror movie logic.
Like,
you never move out of the way of gunfire. You never go downstairs. You always go upstairs where there is no escape. Like, you know,
you wear
it's
heels
horror
when
movie
you want out
logic.
of the house. Right.
Yeah.
There's rules. You hide behind the wall of chainsaws.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Love that. Jenny, sorry, I keep wanting to call her Jenny. Kelly gets the idea of throwing a bed sheet or towel or something over this thing, and now they know where it is. And now Paul's able to get a headshot on this thing.
Yeah, why did nobody grab a bucket of paint at any point?
Who knows? The thing falls into the water.
I forgot. Horror movie logic.
Yep. It grabs Jay, but all of a sudden Paul is able to get another headshot on this thing through the water, which he had to have been out of bullets 10 shots ago. But it's that
Horror movie
headshot
logic
in the pool which allows Jay to escape, and Jay sees the pool fill with blood.
Yeah. I do want to make note, the two, like, we have seen the monster leave two marks, one on Jay, one on Paul. And both times it's not bruising, like it is raised, like it is infected.
Who else was it left on? It was left on Jay and who?
Jay's ankle and then Paul's stomach when he gets backhanded.
Paul got hit. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, you're right. Yes. It's like welted.
Yeah, like it is raised.
Yeah.
It's like poison ivy. Like very, very cool observation.
Like herpes.
Something like that.
If you ever had herpes on the stomach, it's really a bitch.
I can't share that experience, James. Tell me more.
Paul decides that finally he gets to get laid. Or I should say Jay agrees to allow Paul to get laid.
Yeah.
And Paul immediately is like, "Do you feel any different?" She's like,
No. Why would your ween fundamentally change me?
No. And that kind of hurts him. She's like, "Do you?" And he's like, "No, I guess not." And it was like, dude.
I do wonder if it's implying, like, do you feel like the curse has moved on?
Yes, but
no, I totally got
that.
That was like what he was like kind of trying to ask, but I felt like what he wanted to ask was like, was it good for you? Did it change your religion? Like,
Do you love me now?
yeah.
I realized that, you know,
Do you
Timu,
see
Johnny
me
Depp,
now?
and Hugh Jeff were, you know, maybe a little bit more gifted, but please, I'm a thin drink of water.
Mhm.
We here's something I'm curious about. The camera pans over Jay's room. We see a photo of Jay's father. Is he dead?
I think it's
Did
implied
No.
though.
No, he's
Wait,
not
is
dead, but he's not there. He's
I
not involved.
Not there. No.
He's not in the
no,
picture.
like
We know that.
yeah, no, she immediately, like, I didn't get the impression that he was dead, but like I, definitely got the impression that she was quite surprised to see his apparition.
Yeah,
Okay,
because
so
he was at the pool.
you did clock that was him at the pool,
Yeah.
because someone asked, what does it look like, and she says, I don't want to say. And I
Right.
was picking up on that too, that was her dad that she was saying.
Right. 'Cause
Yeah,
I think it was Kelly who asked the sister, and she's like, I don't want to tell you because you don't want to know.
Yeah.
because like we before they even go there, like we see him on the roof, right?
No,
that
we
him?
saw an old man
Was
on
that-
the roof when they drove off to the pool. Just
No,
a naked
I
old
could
man.
have sworn that was her dad. Am I crazy?
I
No,
think an
okay.
older man. Older man with a bigger dick.
It's very important if you're doing full frontal.
Hey, I just watched 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple, so I've had
Oh my God. Emphasis on the bone.
lots of slappy wieners. Paul
It's a
then
great
goes
film.
and drives past some hookers. So we're to get the sense that Paul's going to
Pass it on.
have a hooker, which, I mean, if you have one STD, what could 20 more hurt, right? Like, and here's the thing: if you wear protection,
I was just gonna bring this up.
does it prevent?
No.
What?
No idea. No idea.
Can't
We'll
say.
never know.
I believe the creators said it would not protect you. Condom cannot
No,
protect
because you're spiritually bound, not just
My
there's
sex
no
ed
latex barrier for that.
did not promote abstinence. They promoted safe sex. So I'm to believe that a condom would protect me from it.
Okay.
Well, you better start walking in the eyes of the Lord, okay? Because those rubbers won't protect you.
Might be a little late. After Paul sees some hookers, we then have Paul and Jay walking down the street in their neighborhood. And Paul wants to hold her hand.
Mm-hmm.
Reaches over and tries to hold her casted hand, and she lets him. She's like, okay. And we think, okay, maybe they're okay. But someone's walking behind them. And then we cut to a title card. It follows.
Which is the first title card of the movie.
Yep.
We don't see the title at the beginning of the movie.
Yep. Yeah, there's no title card at the beginning of the movie. And there we go. They are working on a sequel, by the way. They start filming this year. The director,
exciting.
writer, and director's back.
Mm-hmm.
And Micah Monroe's coming back. It's called They Follow.
Okay.
They Follow.
All right.
So there you go. All right. So we are now into final deliberations. Kat, we'll have you go first. Where do you land on It Follows?
Come on, it's not guilty. This is a great movie. This is one of my favorite movies. I have watched this movie I think I watched this movie like 5 times the first year I saw it. It's so good. Completely original concept. No notes.
Yeah, perfect.
Oh,
All right,
except
Kristina.
for one note. They were definitely in college.
It's true. They were.
It's true.
I am also not guilty. I loved this movie. I didn't mention it before, but the music of this film is so good. Like, you have these very calm ambient synths, And then anytime the monster's coming, you have this drumbeat that is so slow and steady, like footsteps, because it is coming, right? It's just so well done. And I do want to quickly compare it to another movie that has a similar concept of a curse. And that's, I know you've seen it, James. I don't know if you've seen it, Kat, the movie Smile.
Yes.
Yeah. I have. It's very similar concept.
Very similar.
I like it follows better.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. I do think it is so much better. There's
because it's a masterclass in subtlety.
Yes.
Smile needs to beat you over the head with it. And it follows, trusts its audience.
Yes.
A perfect dichotomy between two films, a director who trusts his audience and a director who does not.
Yeah. I mean, I loved that they didn't really isolate the protagonist. Like she had a bubble of safety with her friends, even if they didn't fully understand what was going on. And I really liked there was no monster reveal. Not really.
No, we never get any clear answers, and I love that because that also trusts the audience. We don't need an explanation. Mm-hmm. Part of the scare is the lack of explanation.
Yeah. Ambiguity is perfect in this movie.
And they set up the stakes so early as well. Like, you know, in the first 30 minutes exactly what is going on. So there's less of a like mystery solving discovery of like, well, what's happening? I don't understand. You know what's happening. So it really lets the paranoia breathe. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
The only part of the movie I didn't enjoy, that I've never enjoyed, is the pool scene. I never felt it fit the movie and everything the movie was doing up to that point. But that is just such a hair to split over what is otherwise a great film. Like, not good film. This is a great film.
Yeah, it also.
Well, and I've never known you to split hairs, James.
Don't have many to split.
I think it's the only real scene in the movie that relies on CGI to get the scene through. And the CGI, because it's a low budget movie, isn't that great.
No, it's just not my favorite scene. It feels forced in, and you don't need it. You don't need that scene whatsoever. By the way, I just had a conversation with Gemini. They are definitively in high school, not college.
Okay, so you know what? I'm not going to trust an AI answer.
Here's the evidence, if you will.
It's AI. A robot told you? I'm sorry. Like,
Jay is sitting in a high school classroom, not a lecture hall. The teacher speaks directly to the students. The room layout, desk, and pacing.
Have you never been to a community college campus? They don't have lecture halls.
Number two. They all live at home. Jay lives at home with their sister. Greg lives with his parents. None of the characters have apartments, roommates, or jobs typical of college students.
I'm sorry, because they're in community college.
Did you move out of your home, James?
I'm not done yet. Number three. Transportation and independence. They rely on their parents' cars. They rely on friends' rides. No one has their own place. There's no references of college classes, majors.
Because they're in their early 20s.
They're all teenagers, not adults. Number four, the way sex is framed. Sex is portrayed as new, risky, and identity shifting, not casual or normalized. And there's anxiety surrounding sex, which is adolescent, not adult. Sex is treated as a threshold in the movie, and it is a coming of age, not as college experimentation.
No, because
I wish I could throw this drink in your face right now. Like, you're wrong. You're wrong. Okay, first of all, it's 2 against 1. You're wrong. Majority rules. Give me your lunch money. Like, but also, like, you asked a robot. Like, ask the director. Yeah. I'll believe it when I hear it from them.
The over-reliance on AI is what's wrong with society nowadays, and it's the death of creativity. But like, it is a movie about moving from adolescence to adulthood in so many ways, but that can happen in early college.
Exactly.
According to Wikipedia,
which is what happened here. It happened in early college because she's obviously getting her gen eds at a community college. What's happening.
Wiki says Jay is a college student.
What? It's almost like we knew what we were talking about.
Look, that I have been in that college classroom, okay? That is college.
Same.
Like, that is not high school. High school, there's individual desks, not tables.
Okay.
Oh, pobrecito. Does being wrong take it out of you? You could just give us your verdict if you are ready to admit defeat.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Like, it's a little early in the year for me to be wrong, but like,
there's
get it out of the way now.
It's never too early.
Get it out of the way now.
It's never too early.
Can bat 1,000 for the rest of the year.
Sure.
This way we can make it a pattern for the rest of the year.
This is a wild not guilty. Like this, you could not have a better independent low budget horror movie done well. I am so anticipatory for the sequel because it's the same writer, because it's the same director, because it's the same lead actress. Like, they did this right the first time, and I'm so excited to give them the chance to do right the second time. So there you go.
I trust them to do it the second time because they trusted us, the audience, the first time.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
And they follow. I want to know who they are. Did it split? Did it diverge?
Like,
is it mutating?
They did
everything
establish there's only one, but
is it
what?
Is it becoming antibiotic resistant?
I hate it when a sexually transmitted curse becomes antibiotic resistant. Hate it.
Yeah.
Tale as old as time.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, that is it on this episode of Film Jury. Huge thanks to Kristina and Kat for being our jurors in this episode, and to our listeners for checking out this episode. Stay tuned on Film Jury as we continue Love Hurts Month. All month long, we got some films that will make you think twice about falling in love from all of us. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll catch you all in the next screening. Take care, everyone.